Captain Remy. I only want you. Your man is bleeding in the mud. Drop your weapon. Walk toward me. Or watch your team die. One by one. A sniper's bullet shattered the Iraqi Marsh. SEAL Team Orion 2-1 fought to escape the rising ambush. Their wounded brother bled out on the Medevac line. Mercenaries closed in for the kill. But the fog answered first. A lone figure stepped from the reeds. Call sign, Valkyrie. She hunted them one by one. Tonight, the Marsh had a ghost, and she wasn't there to save them. Before we begin, tell us where are you watching from? And if you believe honor and courage still matter, help keep their legacy alive. Hello. I'm delighted to assist you with our voice services. Choose a voice that resonates with you. And let's begin our creative audio journey together. The bullet sliced the night open. A sharp crack rolled across the marsh. Spec. Elias Mace Quinn fell face first into the black water. Mud splashed over his gear. His fingers twitched, then stilled. Blood spread like a dark ribbon beneath him. Static hissed on the team's radio. A cold voice bled through the channel. Captain Remy, I only want you. The marsh went quiet. Even the wind seemed to pull back. Then the screen of time tore open. 10 hours earlier, the Mesopotamian marshes breathed under a thick layer of dawn fog. Wet reeds whispered in the wind. 6 shadows moved in a staggered line across the drowned fields. SEAL Team Orion 2-1. Call sign Beacon 2-1. Deep reconnaissance, low visibility, high risk. Captain Daniel Remy raised a fist. The line froze without a sound. Northwest. Remy moved closer. What is it? Mace didn't answer. He never got the chance. A single shot tore through the marsh. It arrived before the sound did. The impact slammed into Mace's vest, turning him sideways. He hit the mud hard. No scream. Only the echo of the rifle. Contact! Move! Remy barked. Briggs dropped to his knees and dragged Mace backward. Patch slid in behind cover and tore open the medical kit. Another bullet blew a piece of bark off a rotting trunk. A third chipped a reed an inch from Patch's arm. The sniper had the range perfectly dialed. Where's it coming from? Briggs yelled. No one could tell. The fog threw sound in every direction. Remy tried the radio. Orion Actual. Shots fired. We need vector static devoured his words. The channel suddenly cleared. That same cold voice returned. Slow. Icy. Calm. Beacon 2-1. Your man is bleeding. But he is not who I came for. Patch pressed gauze into Mace's wound. The blood kept rising, warm against the cold air. Hess hit deep. Sir. Briggs fired 3 rounds into the fog, a useless gesture. Nothing answered back. Remy felt the ground shift under his boots. Not water, something else. A pressure. A presence. The sniper spoke again. You remember Mosul, Captain? The voice carried a twisted smile. Briggs looked at Remy. Sir, he knows you. Remy didn't respond. The fog thickened, swallowing shapes. The marsh hummed like a wet engine. Mace coughed weakly, blood dotting his lips. Remy leaned down. Stay with me, you hear? Mace blinked once, slow. Patch pulled out a compression bandage. I need more light! Briggs angled his rifle and flashlight together. Another shot cracked. It hit the flashlight and exploded it. Briggs stumbled back, startled. Snipers zeroing on us, Captain, Patch snapped. Remy's jaw locked tight. Move him. Now. They shifted deeper into a cluster of leaning palms. The roots formed a natural barrier, a thin one barely cover, but better than nothing. Patch worked fast, hands slick with mud. Hess losing too much, sir. Remy nodded grimly. The radio clicked again. Running won't help you, Captain. A brief pause. I waited a long time. Briggs swore under his breath. This guy's a ghost. Remy stared into the mist. Not a ghost, a hunter. One who had come for him. The marsh creaked around them. The reeds swayed invisibly. Time felt stretched thin. Remy whispered, Eyes up. Hez still watching. Briggs steadied his rifle. Patch leaned over Mace, fighting for every second. In the distance, a faint thumping emerged. Helicopter rotors, far. But there. Briggs exhaled. Medevac's inbound. Remy's silence held no victory. because the sniper spoke once more. Good. Bring them closer. And the Marsh swallowed his laughter whole. The thump of the distant helicopter grew louder. It pulsed through the fog like a heartbeat. Remy knew it might be their only window. Patch leaned closer to Mace, pressures dropping fast. We're running out of time. Blood soaked through the bandage and pooled under his elbow. Briggs scanned the Marsh with tight, rigid movements. He expected the next shot at any second. Every reed felt like a rifle barrel pointing back at them. The sniper's silence turned heavy. A predatory calm. An invisible countdown. Remy raised his hand. We move on my mark. No one argued. They lifted Mace carefully. His head lolled back, eyes half open, unfocused. Patch whispered, "Stay awake. Stay with us." Their boots sloshed through the shallow water. Each step sounded too loud. Each ripple felt like a flare to the enemy. A burst erupted from the left tree line. Heavy gunfire slammed the water beside them. Mud exploded into their faces. Briggs shoved Remy behind a root wall. "Contact! 2 o'clock!" Rounds stitched across the marsh like angry wasps. They dove into the reeds. Patch shielded Mace with his body. Remy fired 3 quick shots to force space. The heavy weapon kept hammering. Its rhythm was mechanical, merciless, confident. Laughter echoed behind it, multiple voices. The mercenaries were closing in. Their boots splashed through the shallows. Their confidence vibrated in the air. Remy switched channels. "Medevac, mark your flare." Static answered. Then nothing. Briggs gritted his teeth. "They're jamming us." Patch spat mud. Perfect timing. Mace coughed weakly. The sound was small, almost childlike. Remy felt something twist sharply inside him. "We push forward," he said quietly. "We reach the exfil ridge or we lose him." Even the Marsh seemed to exhale at the decision. They broke from cover. Gunfire snapped behind them in wild arcs. Briggs returned fire, short and disciplined. The team pushed toward a thin strip of higher ground. The helicopter thump grew stronger. They could almost feel downwash on their faces. Suddenly, a grenade rolled out of the fog. Patch saw it first. "Move!" The explosion tore the quiet apart. A geyser of water and muck shot upward. The shockwave sent Remy stumbling backward. Briggs grabbed him by the vest. "Captain, eyes up!" Figures emerged through the haze. 5, maybe 6, mercenaries advancing. Formed in a loose, confident spread. Weapons high, posture arrogant. One shouted, "Drop the gear! Drop the wounded!" Another fired a spray above their heads. They were hurting them, not finishing them. Remy understood. They wanted him alive. Mace, not so much. He hissed into the calm. "Keep moving!" Patch dragged Mace with both arms. Mace groaned, barely conscious. A heavy burst ripped across their escape line. The rounds churned the mud into boiling foam. Briggs yelled, "That's a mounted gun!" They dived behind a fractured rise of earth. The berm shook under the impacts. Chunks of wet soil collapsed around them. Patch checked Mace again. Hez crashing. "I can't hold this much longer." His voice cracked for the first time. Remy's heart throbbed behind his ribs. He looked through the drifting smoke. Shapes were circling them. A shadow approached the flank. Another moved to cut their rear. They were being boxed in carefully. The radio clicked alive. Phantom's voice oozed across the channel. "The Marsh is small, Captain. Options. Smaller." Briggs fired at a silhouette. The figure dropped with a splash. Another instantly took its place. Phantom chuckled. "You hear that? Many volunteers tonight." The laugh hit like ice water. The helicopter finally broke through the fog. Its searchlight scraped the surface of the marsh. Blades thrashed the mist into torn ribbons. Remy shouted, "Signal them!" Briggs popped a flare. The red glow bled across the fog. The aircraft dipped lower. Rotor wash churned the reeds flat. For a moment, escape felt possible. Mercenaries opened fire at the helicopter. Rounds sparked against its armor plating. The pilot swung sideways to compensate. A rope dropped. Patch pushed Mace toward it. "Get him up! Now!" Remy hooked Mace to the line. The winch lifted him slowly, painfully. His limp body swayed in the wind. Phantom fired a single shot. It sliced past Remy's cheek. The bullet hit the winch housing with a sharp clang. Mace jerked violently. Patch screamed, "Hold him!" The line steadied just enough. The helicopter banked hard. Mace vanished into the mist. The rope retracted with a metallic snap. Patch slumped. Briggs breathed out a broken sound. Remy stared as the aircraft disappeared behind a veil of fog. The marsh fell silent again. No gunfire, no voices. Phantom spoke last. One piece removed. "Captain, 5 to go." And the fog closed over them like a shroud. The helicopter was gone. Its echo faded into the wet distance. Only the marsh remained, heavy and breathless. Briggs watched the sky vanish behind drifting fog. His jaw clenched so tight the muscle jumped. He muttered, "He better make it." Patch didn't answer. He stared at the mud on his gloves. Mace's blood had soaked through every ridge. Remy stood still. His expression didn't move, but something behind his eyes had cracked. The marsh shifted. Small ripples crossed the surface, a sign of movement far off. Briggs raised his rifle. "Something's out there." Remy nodded once. The reeds parted quietly. A mercenary stepped halfway into view. He scanned the area with careful, practiced sweeps. Remy didn't breathe. Patch froze at Mace's memory. Briggs steadied his aim. A burst of gunfire erupted from the left. Mud exploded where they had just been standing. Remy pulled them into cover. The mercenary group was tightening. A slow, deliberate noose. Each step they took pushed Orion 2 one deeper into a dead end. Remy whispered, "Shift position." Low and slow, they crawled through a narrow runnel in the mud. The water soaked through their vests instantly. A voice carried over the marsh. Smooth, drawn out. "Phantom. Captain, I know you can hear me." His tone felt like a knife across the surface. "I warned you once in Mosul," Briggs muttered. "He keeps saying that." Patch shook his head. "Doesn't matter why. Hes here to finish something." More footsteps splashed closer. Remy held up a fist. The team froze in a cluster of twisted roots. A single mercenary approached them. His boots cut small circles in the water. His rifle hung low, confident. Remy lunged silently. An arm wrapped around the man's neck. A quick pull dragged him underwater. Bubbles surged. The body jerked once, then went still. Remy lowered him without a sound. Patch swallowed hard. Briggs whispered, "One down." But he didn't smile. The marsh moaned with wind. A strange metallic click sounded nearby. Patch recognized it instantly. "Trip mine," he whispered. Briggs froze mid-step. A narrow wire stretched across his shins. Remy knelt. "Hold." Briggs didn't move a muscle. Carefully, Remy cut the wire. He lifted Briggs away from the trigger. The mine stayed buried, silent and waiting. "Phantom's prepared," Patch said. Remy corrected him. "Hes obsessed." Another burst erupted in the distance. Closer this time. Too close. A new threat surfaced, a mounted gun sweeping the marsh. Its rounds shredded reeds like wet paper. The gunner laughed between bursts. Remy grabbed Patch's sleeve. "Run the low channel." They sprinted through ankle-deep water. Bullets cracked behind them. Each one punched a column of spray upward. The air smelled of metal and churned earth. They dove behind a drowned log. Briggs fired blindly to force space. Patch gasped, chest heaving. A mercenary squad angled toward their position. Their pace was deliberate. Their voices carried a cruel rhythm. One said, "Don't shoot the captain." Another snickered. But the others, no need to be gentle. Their boots sliced the marsh in parallel lines. Remy tightened his grip on his rifle. He knew the pattern. They weren't hunting. They were closing the cage. A shadow peeled from behind a palm. Briggs fired first. The figure dropped and vanished into the water. Another came from the right. Patch flung mud in his eyes. Briggs finished the job. Still, they were being pressed backward. The pressure felt relentless. A slow drowning without water. Remy checked the horizon. No helicopter. Only fog and the faint glow of distant oil flares. Patch's voice trembled. "Mace, did he make it?" No one answered. The silence was louder than gunfire. Remy finally spoke. "He was alive when he left us." Briggs looked away. That's not an answer, sir. Remy didn't repeat himself. Phantom's voice filled the air again. He sounded closer now, almost inside the fog around them. You feel it yet, Captain? That tightness? That ending? His words slithered across the stagnant water. Your team deserves better. You should have given me what I asked for. Briggs spat. Patch shook with anger. Remy's stare hardened into stone. Low footsteps circled them, a faint crunch of reeds. Then more. The mercenaries had formed a ring. Their silhouettes flickered in the fog. Weapons angled inward like spears. Briggs wiped sweat and mud from his forehead. This is a bad angle, Patch whispered. Understatement of the year. Remy steadied his breathing. He understood the math. 3 men. A tightening circle of trained killers. No support, no visibility, no time. Phantom stepped into view at last. His outline shimmered through the mist. He held his rifle loosely, like he owned the marsh. Finally, he said, "You're right where I want you." His smile was almost gentle. Briggs raised his rifle. Remy lifted a hand. "Hold." Phantom tilted his head. "You can't run anymore." He aimed directly at Remy's chest. The marsh inhaled. The fog swirled. Nothing moved. Then everything did. A single shot cracked from somewhere unseen. Not from Phantom. Not from the mercenaries. A bullet punched clean through Phantom's scope. Glass shattered across his cheek. His eyes widened in disbelief. Someone else was here. Someone none of them had seen. Someone who had just changed the balance. Phantom reeled backward. The bullet had torn straight through his scope. Shards glittered on his cheek like frozen tears. Briggs blinked hard. "What was that?" Patch whispered. "Not us." The mercenaries faltered. Their formation loosened. Several glanced into the fog with sudden doubt. Another shot rang out. A clean, surgical crack. One mercenary dropped instantly. Remy's instincts kicked. New shooter. Unknown position. Briggs scanned wildly. A third shot split the air. Sharp. Precise. Another mercenary collapsed without a scream. Panic spread through the ring. Their confidence evaporated in seconds. Fear took its place. "Who the hell is firing?" Briggs muttered. Patch wiped sweat from his brow. "Doesn't matter. Keep low." A silhouette shifted in the mist. Tall, steady, covered head to toe in a ghillie suit drenched with marsh moss. She advanced with no wasted motion. Every step glided across the wet ground. Her presence felt unreal, almost spectral. Another mercenary tried to flank her. He never got the chance. Her rifle barked once, ending his charge. Phantom heard the shot and staggered. He turned in disbelief. His voice cracked for the first time. "No, not you." Briggs heard it. "Sir." He knows her. Remy narrowed his eyes. The figure paused 20 meters away. She pushed back the hood. A pair of cold blue eyes surfaced through the rags. She spoke through the radio, calm as still water. "Call sign, Valkyrie 2-3. Her voice carried effortless authority. Phantom shook his head violently. "You're supposed to be dead." His hands trembled on his rifle. She didn't answer him. Not yet. Her attention swept across the remaining mercenaries. 2 tried to run. She dropped both before they cleared 10 feet. Quick, methodical, detached. Briggs exhaled in awe. Patch whispered, "Shez carving them apart." Remy stayed silent, studying her patterns. Phantom retreated a step, then another. Fear finally settled in his eyes. He raised his rifle in desperation. She fired before he could line the shot. The round punched into his shoulder and spun him sideways. He hit the mud hard. His breath left in a choked grunt. His weapon slid out of reach. The last mercenary lunged toward her flank. She pivoted with fluid precision. 2 shots ended his momentum instantly. Silence followed. A deep, unnatural silence. Only the marsh bubbled beneath the still air. Remy stood slowly. He kept his weapon low but ready. Briggs mirrored him. Valkyrie approached Phantom. Her boots barely disturbed the water. She looked down at him, face unreadable. Phantom clutched his bleeding shoulder. Don't do this." His voice cracked like old glass. She crouched. Her eyes stayed locked on his. Her words were quiet but sharp. You killed my partner in Aleppo. You left her in an alley. I don't forget names. Phantom's breath stuttered. A tremor ran through him. He finally saw his ending. Briggs swallowed hard. Captain! What now? Patch rubbed a shaking hand against his vest. Remy stepped forward. Valkyrie, stand down. Has a POW now. His tone was firm, not pleading. She rose without hurry. Her stare lingered on Phantom like a weight. Then, she nodded once. Fine. He lives, she said. But not because he deserves it. The words felt colder than the marsh air. Briggs cuffed Phantom's wrists. Patch checked him for hidden triggers. The man shook uncontrollably. Remy approached Valkyrie. You saved us. His voice held genuine respect. She shook her head. I wasn't here for you. Her gaze drifted toward the fog. Remy studied her gear, her rifle, the torn patches on her suit. You've been tracking him for a long time. It wasn't a question. She didn't deny it. The trail led here, she said softly. 49 months. Her voice dropped lower. I'm not finished. Briggs looked uneasy. What about the rest of his cell? Valkyrie answered without turning. 3 still breathing. Not for long. She adjusted her sling. Remy stepped beside her. You're going after them alone? She met his eyes. I don't require company. Her tone carried no arrogance, only certainty. Patch glanced around nervously. Captain, we can't stop her. Remy already knew. Valkyrie walked past them, each stride swallowed by the fog. Her outline thinned in the swirling mist. She paused near the tree line, turned slightly. Her voice crackled through their radio. Captain, tell Mace's daughter someone paid her tuition. Anonymous. Then the channel clicked off. She disappeared into the reeds like a breath. Briggs stared after her. Was she even real? Patch muttered. Ghost of the marsh. Remy tightened his grip on Phantom's collar. Let's move. Extraction point north. His voice regained its command. They trudged toward higher ground. The marsh parted for them reluctantly. Behind them, the fog sealed shut. A final thought echoed in Remy's mind. Not spoken, but solid as stone. This wasn't over. Not by a long stretch. And somewhere in the dark water, Valkyrie resumed the hunt. If you enjoyed the story, consider sending a super chat to help bring more stories like this. Now, click on the video on the screen to hear another story that's just as powerful and captivating, with courage, sacrifice, and a choice that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about duty and justice.